What's up everyone? So today I'm down at Benson Chrysler Jeep Dodge and Ram, and behind me is a very special 2019 Dodge Challenger. Huge thanks to them for providing this car for me today. I'll have a link to their website down in the description below. The model that we're looking at today is the Hellcat Redeye. It's finished off in Destroyer Gray with an MSRP of $90,900. Under the hood is a 6.2 liter V8. This also has a 2.7 liter supercharger, maxing out at 14.5 PSI. And this is only paired to the 8 HP90 8-speed automatic transmission with steering wheel mounted paddle shifters. This engine produces 797 horsepower at 6,500 RPM and 707 pound-feet of torque at 4,500 RPM. It is rear-wheel drive, weighs around 4,400 pounds. 0 to 60 can happen in 3.4 seconds. It has a top speed of 203 miles an hour. It can do the quarter mile in 10.8 seconds at 131 miles an hour. And with a fuel capacity of 15 gallons, you can expect MPG to be 13 in the city and 22 on the highway. It'll also run out of fuel in 13 minutes at its top speed of 203 miles an hour. This also features 80 more horsepower and 151 more pound-feet of torque than the regular Hellcat. It has a wheelbase of 116.2 inches. The overall length is 197.5. The width is 85.4, and it has a height of 57.5 inches. Starting up front, this comes standard with xenon headlights. The middle two lights have been deleted to provide even more cooling to the engine. The hood is finished off in satin black with dual snorkels on it. The driver's side is functional. Very large grille, both in the upper and lower section, again to provide even more cooling to the engine. It features a massive front splitter and a very wide appearance from the front. Moving to the side, this features 20 by 11 inch gloss black wheels in all four corners with a nice double 5-spoke design. They are wrapped in 305/35/20 Pirelli P0 summer tires. This vehicle offers the optional wide body package. It adds 3.5 inches of width to the overall vehicle. This comes with Brembo brakes with 15.4 inch front rotors with 6 piston calipers and 13.8 inch rear rotors with 4 piston calipers. The side mirrors are body colored. You can see the Hellcat Redeye badge with an actual Redeye in the logo, which looks very cool. And the aggressive stance to this continues down the rear, especially with the wide body kit, gives it an excellent look. And finishing up with the massive rear wing integrated into the trunk lid, it's finished off in satin black. This comes with LED taillights, a backup camera with 4 parking sensors. The aggressive lines are integrated nicely into the rear end, and then down below is the dual exhaust. Alright, so that finishes up the exterior walk around of the Hellcat Redeye. What do you guys think? I love the look of this car. I actually checked out a normal Hellcat about 3 or 4 years ago, so it's been a while since I've been around it. I like that on this one you can see the actual Redeye, obviously, so that is a really nice touch over the normal Hellcat logo. And with the optional wide body, it definitely gives it an aggressive stance. I love the hood scoops. Looks really cool, very clean. Now we're gonna go ahead and hop inside. I do have all of the keys for this car. 2 red keys, 1 black key. The black key limits you to about 500 horsepower. And with the red key, there's actually the Redeye on the logo as well. Very nice touch on the key fob itself. With the red key, you get the full 797 horsepower. On the back side of the key, we have lock, unlock. You double tap this to open up the trunk, and then we can double tap on this button to remotely start the vehicle. And then of course, just double tapping it again, it'll shut off. But just by pushing this black button on the top, it'll automatically unlock. The door panel is finished off in very nice black leather. There's white stitching running along the armrest. Both the windows are automatic up and down with your lock and unlock and side mirror adjustments. This features the upgraded 18-speaker Harman Kardon sound system with a little bit of storage space in front of that, and the aluminum release handle is down below. There's also another little storage pocket in the back side of the door itself. Moving inside now to the black Napa leather seats. They have the SRT logo embroidered in the top. Very, very aggressive bolstering with more of the white stitching running along each side. And these have multi-way adjustability along with lumbar support as well. Once inside, we're greeted with a fully wrapped black leather steering wheel. It has really good hand positioning on each side. It's perforated to the sides with solid leather on the top and kind of off-center on the bottom, with a nice brushed aluminum piece right in the middle. All of the buttons on the right side are for cruise control. You have Bluetooth, and these ones here control the 7-inch digital screen in the center. So by using those buttons on the left side of the steering wheel, we can scroll through a lot of different options. We can look at your speedometer. We can go down to vehicle information, which displays a whole bunch of gauges. You have your tire pressure, your coolant temperature, transmission temperature. There's a lot of different gauges that you can scroll through for anything that you need to look at specifically. You have the option to look at that, your boost pressure as well. We can go into performance and look at your current G-forces, your braking distance. You have timers that you can set for your quarter and eighth mile, along with 0 to 60 and 0 to 100. There's also a top speed showing what the vehicle has gone so far, along with a lap timer, which is very cool to see. We can scroll down to your average fuel economy and look at 2 different gauges there with your current range as well, along with your trip distance again, and then we can look at your audio and any messages, along with a screen setup feature so you can control what you'd like to see. In the upper right, upper left corner, you can see the temperature is in the upper right now, and also show your current gear, your odometer. Very configurable for anything that you need to look at specifically. You can go into Diagnostics, so the vehicle will tell you if you're throwing any codes or anything like that, along with setting a speed warning, and we are back to the speedometer. So it's very nice to be able to configure that how you'd like. You have your tachometer to the far left. With the electronics on, that is why the check engine light is on, so it's normal to see that. You have the speedometer to the far right, more of this nice brushed aluminum surrounding the entire gauge setup as well. This also features the steering wheel mounted paddle shifters again. It's just on the top half here. The buttons on the bottom are for the radio volume. You can also change the radio on the left side there. To the left of the steering wheel, you have your headlight control along with dimmer switches and the trunk release with 1 air vent. And then coming to the center, now we'll take a look at the 8.4-inch touchscreen navigation screen. So using the center screen now, it's very easy to go through. You can see we're on radio right now. We can go over to media. You have all of your climate control settings, so you have fan speed down in the center. Where you'd like the air to go is above that, and you can just swipe up and down for driver and passenger. You also have front and rear defrosters on the top section. You have auto, your recirc, and then you can sync these together, so if you have one separate, you just hit sync and they will go to the same one, of course. We can shut that off and it'll disappear, and now we can look at the heated and ventilated driver and passenger seat, along with the heated steering wheel. It's very easy to use all of these. You have the mirror dimmer switch up in the center, and of course you can turn these high, low, and off. There's a settings button underneath that, so for your display, you have your voice recognition, your clock, your camera, everything like that you'd like to configure. We can move over to the apps button, which has a lot more features like your vehicle guide, your Wi-Fi. You have that mirror switch again with some more settings. You can just go into any of these features that you'd like. So let's say you want to go into your settings. If you hold on this, you can actually bring it down to the bottom, and now if that's something you like to go into a lot, you have a shortcut for it. We can look at the navigation full screen so you can see that, and then you have phone to the far right. We can look at a lot of things in real time. If you had this on a dyno, we can look at the engine, the PSI, your G-forces, some other gauges like your oil and temperature, pretty much things that we saw in the center, only you can bring them up and view more of them at once. You have all of your timers again that you can record, and then there is the home screen with your horsepower, and it looks like you can add whatever gauge you'd like to the top there. To the left and right of that screen is another air vent with this really nice trim piece surrounding everything. Moving below that, you have the red engine start stop button with some more leather and white stitching surrounding the entire center here. All of these buttons here, we have your volume for the radio, along with mute, your hazards. You can turn this screen off if you'd like to do so, along with your tuning for the radio. Pushing on the SRT button will bring up this screen here, and we can control a lot of different things. We can limit the vehicle to 500 horsepower, or we can unleash the 797 horsepower. It automatically puts the transmission into track. You can turn on and off the paddle shifters. You have your traction control, suspension, and steering that you can configure between street, sport, and track. So that is very nice to see. There's launch control, which is currently unavailable. The vehicle does need its break-in period. You have your parking sensors and traction control to the right of that. Beneath that are more AC controls, so if you don't want to use them on the screen itself, you have physical buttons with your front and rear defroster, your fan speed with off and auto in the center, along with your dual zone climate control settings. Moving on to the shifter now, it has a really nice design to it, wrapped in leather, of course. If we go ahead and put the vehicle into reverse, you'll see the backup camera light up, and the lines do turn with the steering wheel, which is nice to see. We can also shift using the shifter, so putting it down and to the left, you of course have plus and minus. Behind that there are two cup holders with more of this pattern again running along the entire center. Gives it a really nice clean look. The leather wrapped armrest has more white stitching. We just push this button to open it up to the side. It has a 12 volt, two USBs, a good amount of room in the middle there. And then moving over to the glove box, it has a shelf in the center, so you have a little bit of room both top and bottom. We'll take another look at these really nice sport bucket leather seats. The bolstering to them is very, very aggressive. I really like how they look. This does feature a sunroof, and all of those controls are up in the center, along with a sunglass holder behind that and the dome light switches as well. So now it's time to take a look at the rear seats. This is a 5-seater, 2-door sports car, so we'll go ahead and see what they have to offer. On the driver's side here, I'm just gonna pull on this tab to move the backrest forwards and go ahead and climb in. So behind both front seats, there's a little bit of storage space. You have two air vents in the center. And then moving on to the practicality of these, I definitely have a lot of room with my feet. They easily slide up underneath the seat. And then at 5'10", my head is just barely touching the top. But I could definitely see these being comfortable. It'd probably be a little tight with 3 people in the back, but 2 people could easily fit comfortably and go on a long cruise. There's definitely not too crammed in the back seats. Moving to the center armrest now, you have 2 cup holders. There's also one on each side, along with a side window, and we'll take a look out of the rear glass. So while these may not be used that often, you can actually get a rear seat delete as well. These are functional in a pinch if you do need them. They're spacious enough to be functional even on a daily basis. So now it's time to take a look at the rear trunk storage space, and real quick we'll just look at the gas cap finished off in that satin black as well. Gives it a really nice touch. There's 3 ways to open up the trunk. We have the key fob inside as I showed you, or you can just push on this black button up underneath. There's about 16 cubic feet of storage space in the back with the rear seats up, and if you fold them down it goes to about 37. So there's definitely a lot of room in the back. You can see my camera gear and everything in here just to give you some reference. It's actually pretty deep to both the left and the right. So there's definitely a lot of room in here for anything that you would need, couple backpacks or something like that. All right, so it is time to get the Challenger Hellcat Redeye out on the road. This is the fastest production vehicle that I have ever driven, and I am super excited to see how this performs. I have the red keys with me, so I do have the full 797 horsepower at my disposal. I'm not going to be using its full potential obviously today. So I have the 797 horsepower, I have the paddle shifters on, transmission is in track mode, steering and suspension is track as well, and the traction control I think I'm going to keep in sport. I don't want to obviously fully take that off. Before we really get on it though, just going over the general visibility and everything, it's very, very easy to see all around this car. You can easily see over your left and right shoulder. There's not too much of a blind spot on those pillars. Of course, you have your side mirrors to help you out with that, but you can easily look out that rear glass, a quick glance, and pretty much see all around. And of course, you have the rear view camera and the parking sensors too. So overall, for being a very large 2-door vehicle, it is easy to see all around. Moving on to the comfort now, these seats are incredible. I love how aggressive these bolsters are. I'm not a really big person. They stick out almost farther than I do, but they definitely hold you in your seat well, and they're really comfortable. This also has a lot of standard safety features like blind spot monitoring, rear cross traffic alert, forward collision, and adaptive cruise control. So while it has all those performance features, it also has all the normal standard safety features that you would find in a regular Dodge, which is nice to have. So there's so many different options on turning those on and off, along with the performance options as well, which gives you a wide range of basically customizing this vehicle as needed for the different situations that you're driving in. This also features the Demons Power Chiller, which drives the air conditioning refrigerant from the interior cab to a chiller unit. This will lower the intake air temperature to provide even more cooling to the engine. So while you have the 2 light deletes in the middle, you have massive grills up front, there's going to be a lot of air cooling to this engine to keep it performing at its best, especially when you unlock that 797 horsepower. You're out on the track or you're drag racing this, or even on back mountain roads, you have all the cooling from a production vehicle, which is very cool to see. That you basically just buy this, take it out to the track, and you have a monster of a muscle car at your disposal. So it is time to get on it just a little bit here. Woo-hoo, you can hear that supercharger whine. It sounds so good. It's not too loud from the back. I can almost hear more of that supercharger whine more. So one more pull, giving it just a little bit more gas. Wow. I could not imagine unleashing this out on the track, doing a full sprint or even a launch from zero. Wow. This is incredible. Incredible. So I just put it down to 500 horsepower. We're going to take it around a turn here, kind of power out in using only 500 horsepower. I can definitely tell a difference. I don't know if you guys can. 500 horsepower is still a crazy amount, but you can tell a difference. Obviously, that's a huge difference. Coming around another turn here, we're coming out with the full horsepower. This is incredible. This is a crazy vehicle to drive. So that is my walk around review and test drive of the 2019 Dodge Challenger Hellcat Redeye. Huge thanks again to Benson, Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, and Ram for providing this muscle car for me today. It's definitely a blast to drive, has a lot of technology features. If you guys enjoyed that video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, smash that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys next video.